Yo. It's showtime now, baby. We ran with them. Let them know. Yo. Yo. Put them up, yo. This my world, this my earth, this my turf, this my land. I stand on my own 2 feet against my family tree. Yo. This is legacy. Cross my path, you'll see. Yo. Cross my path, you'll see. I was born a king, ran with the pack. I was born a king, I was born a king. They talking family first, I put that in the past. Put that in the past, put that in the past. Man, that's old news, baby. This news you all up in your grills. Hey, how y'all doing out there? On the real, it don't even matter, because it's all about me. Good evening, everyone. Off the Ropes, episode 19, Fastlane review. It's your boy Bret here. Alongside of me is KO Kyle Owens and Brandon Ogden. What's going on, guys?
What's up? I love that theme. I love Jim Uso's new theme. I love it. It's I think it sounds so much better than Jey Uso's, because Jay just kept the same theme, just changed it up. But Jimmy went heel, went to the dark side. I like it.
Yeah, I like both of them, but I do that they both hit hard, and I like Jimmy's. Jay changed it up just a little bit, just enough, but Jimmy's is totally different, and Solo Sikoa is never going to get his own songs.
He has. Well, he's got his own theme. He never gets to use it.
He never gets to use it. Yeah.
Well, they're saving it at some point. When he breaks off on his own, I'm sure they'll play it more. But man, how's your guys going? Monday, everybody have a good weekend?
I had a great weekend. The Texas OU game lived up to the hype. I know you don't want to talk about it, Bret, but it was a very good game. Then watched Fastlane Saturday night and had some NFL action yesterday. 5-0, still undefeated.
NFL. Hey, I want to talk about MLB. Is the only thing that's good to talk about these days. Is our Rangers are 4-0 in the postseason so far.
Brandon's Astros took an L last night, so
hey, it's a series for a reason.
I do hope it's an all Texas LCS, though. I think an all Texas LCS would be awesome.
Yeah, be good. I think if you're the Rangers, though, I think the way they've played against the Astros, they don't want to see the Astros. I think they want to see the Twins. I mean,
they didn't play great against the Twins either. So
yeah, but I think it's something about the Astros this year. It seems like it's like and then you have basically when you play the game in Arlington, it's basically a 50-50 crowd, and so it's not really a home field advantage.
I think the Rangers have, in my opinion, I think they have the best lineup that's left in the AL for sure. The question mark for me on the Rangers is their bullpen. I think they got decent starting pitching. They have 1 through 9 in the batting order is solid. I think they have a really good shot of making the World Series. It's just, it depends on that bullpen. But if you get a big enough lead, you don't need the bullpen so much. So.
Yeah. Well, since we're already off topic, let's do some off topics. Topic 1, Jade Cargill made an appearance at Fastlane. Kind of a surprise to me. I knew that she was signing, obviously, but they, kind of put her out on the big stage. She came out of her, nice little vehicle and came out, shook Triple H's hand, and looked like $1 million. Guys, do you think we see her on SmackDown or Raw, or you think she goes to NXT?
I want her to go to NXT. I think she needs some work in the ring that could help her in NXT. I've heard reports that she's ending up on Raw. I've heard reports that she's going to be ending up on Raw. Now, whether she shows up tonight or I think they'll probably wait till next week because next week's the season premiere. So I think they'll wait till next week for her to show up. But I've heard she's showing up on Raw. I'm excited. I think even when we saw her in AEW, I think she had the look of WWE. Like you knew at some point she was going to convert over to WWE. I think WWE is going to make her a superstar in ways that AEW just simply couldn't. And I'm excited to see what she can do. I think she does need to get a little better in the ring. She's a little green in the ring. She can only do so much, but she has been training. She's worked with Brian Danielson, so I know she's getting good training. And then in the Performance Center, they'll help her out a lot there. But I'm excited to see what she can do. I just hope she's enough to help this women's division that seems to be struggling a little bit. And I know we'll talk about the women's match at Fastlane, which honestly, other than maybe the main event, possibly could have been match of the night because it was a very good match between those ladies. But I think there needs to be some fresh blood in the women's division. So I'm excited to see what Jade can do. And I'm excited to see some of the matchups that we have with Jade and some of the women on the roster. So I'm excited for it.
You know, Kyle, you talk about the women's division. Well, the SmackDown women's division has been fine. And that's what we saw on Saturday night. And, you know, with Asuka, Io, and Charlotte, well, you know, Io was a Raw person, but then when she won the title, she went over there. But they had Bianca before. So the SmackDown women's division's been fine. But the Raw women's division, you had Rhea, and then you had Becky, but she's gone to NXT now. They keep pushing Raquel, but they brought Nia back, but we don't know yet where that's going. And that's why I think Jade will fit.
Well.
Huh?
Yeah, Shayna also in there, kind of in the mix.
Yeah, she came back last week and started fighting with Nia, and so we'll see. And then so I think Jade, we'll see. I think Jade's going to be on Raw. It sounds like that's what we've heard, and I think we'll see where they, you know, you can't jump her right in with Rhea, but maybe start off do a feud with Shayna at first, and then go from there. So.
I could see if they bring her into Raw, like starting up her streak again, like where she just smashes some people, kind of bring her in, let her like pin some people in, you know, 5-10 seconds, you know, come in, build her up a little bit, and then let her go. As I feel like Kyle said, I think the NXT thing would be a good route, but they go with a route of Raw. Maybe they give her some matches on air, you know, against some lesser opponents. Maybe, you know, because they're selling her like a star. But I think if they sell her right, you know, kind of like they did in AEW, you know, let us see her first. Don't just stick her in the ring against. I think that would be a mistake just to stick her right in the ring against one of those big top stars right off the bat. I mean, she needs to earn. She's talking about she wants to work her way up and earn her stripes. I think she's going to need to build on those matches. Maybe you have some matches with like some of the lower end, maybe like Bailey right now would be a good match because that Bailey's not doing it. They've kind of pushed her down the card. Maybe like you got, I can't remember who's on what roster because they kind of flip them, but someone like Natalia or some people like that, just and get her some matches in.
Shotzi.
Who's that?
Shotzi,
yes. Yeah. Somebody, some people along the lines of that.
What I would have liked to have seen them do is they, you know, I know you don't watch NXT really, but they're about to start. Well, they actually kind of started the other night. They're doing like their breakout tournament they do.
Oh yeah.
And you know, the last time they did it, Tiffany Stratton and Nikita Lyons were the championship, and now Tiffany Stratton's kind of skyrocketed in NXT. Well, they just started that. It would have been nice since they had already signed Jade, leave an 8 spot open and put Jade in that, and let her go through that in NXT, and that's her like kind of breakout in WWE, and then do whatever with her. But they already got it. They already have 8 spots filled, and there's looks like some good young talent in there. But it'd have been nice to see Jade in that first.
Maybe somebody ends up injured, Brandon. Maybe somebody in the back gets attacked and is injured, and then there's mysteriously this spot open that Jade Cargill slides right in, and then maybe she attacked him later down the line, and that sets up a feud with whoever that was. I don't know. There could be some other angle.
I just don't know if we'll see her on NXT unless it's just tomorrow night as an appearance. It's just, you know, I think they're done kind of with, hey, we bring in people from another company and put them in NXT. I think they realize, hey, Jade's a big name, and we could probably use her on one of our main brands right now. So,
and Jade is a big name, but I don't want to see her come in, like you said, Bret. I don't want to see her come in and have these minute-long squash matches. Like, I don't want to see that. I don't think that to me, that doesn't build somebody up. Like, cool, you can beat up lesser talent in a minute. That's awesome. Let me see a real match. So I'm okay with seeing her in the ring with Natalia or Shotzi or Tegan Knox, but let's have a good 5-10 minute match where she has some offense hit on her too. I don't think she has to come in and be this, 60-0 dominant superstar right off the bat. Like anybody that watches wrestling knows what she did in AEW. I want to see her come in and have some good matches, not just squash matches that make her look unbeatable. Because then when you beat her, then what? Like if you make her unbeatable, because it's all the same thing in AEW. Once she lost the title, then what? Now what do you do with her? Now her whole stigma's gone. The same thing with Omos. When I think my point with Omos is like with Bobby Lashley, when he was going to that feud with Bobby Lashley, the whole thing was Bobby Lashley spearing him, or like Omos has never hit the mat. You know what I mean? Once he hit the mat, his whole stigma's gone. His whole gimmick's done. So I don't want to see them do that with Jade, because you kind of put yourself in a corner if you try to make her this undefeated superstar. So I'd like to see her come in, have some decent matches, and just kind of see what she does. I don't know where she'll fit in, how she'll fit in on Monday night, but I have faith that hopefully Triple H is the one controlling this and that he will creatively book her properly. If it's in Vince's hands, I don't trust it at all.
Well, I've heard that Endeavor is now given Triple H the power. So that's what I've been reading. So I don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out. And I feel like lately the stories have been pretty good. We complain about sometimes the stories be lacking, but there's some pretty good. And I think it shows in this pay-per-view. I was kind of more interested in some of the stories than the actual matches coming into the pay-per-view. I think they did a fine job. It wasn't a 10 of 10 pay-per-view or anything like that, but I think it was fine. I mean, I'd give it like a 7 or something as far as the match quality. I think there was some good matches with some storylines mixed in. It was short. It was sweet. It didn't draw out for 18 million years.
Take notes, Tony Khan. Doesn't need to be 18 matches and go 4 hours. You could have 5 matches and go 2.5 hours, and it'd be a fine pay-per-view.
Yeah. Okay. Topic 2. The NXT AEW Tuesday Night War tomorrow night is going to be interesting. We'll have it. May be the first time that I actually tune in and watch. Oh wait, I have a volleyball game tomorrow. I'll have to catch that on repeat. I forgot about that. But I want to watch both. I'll actually probably watch both shows because I'm interested to see kind of how it goes. They're bringing out the big guns. John Cena going to make an appearance on NXT. Cody Rhodes. I mean, can you bring any bigger names to NXT, guys, that they have right now?
Here's the problem I have with this is let WWE tell it. AEW is the knockoff brand, the brand that nobody cares about. They're not competition. Okay, well, if they're not competition, why are you bringing all your biggest superstars for a Tuesday night show to compete against them? Like, don't tell me they're not competition and then load up your show to literally compete with Dynamite. Now, Dynamite's got a solid card with the International Championship with Moxley and Phoenix. You got Jay White and Hangman Page. Swerve and Bryan Danielson should be an absolute banger. Powerhouse Hobbs and Jericho. Saraya and Hikaru Shida. You can throw that off the card. And then Adam Copeland and Luchasaurus. I mean, that is stacked. But the thing about this card that Tony Khan did, he didn't need to bring in anybody else. He didn't need to move a bunch of people around. These matches in this card, they play into storylines that are already built in AEW. He didn't have to do anything different. If anything, this shows a desperation move on WWE in my mind, because you could bring in Cody Rhodes down so everybody, the 20 people in the NXT Center could go, whoa!
Major announcement too, Kyle.
It's probably announcing the Dusty Cup. That's probably all it is. It's probably something stupid like that. Like, I'm not saying Dusty Cup's stupid, but I'm saying it's probably something that minor that it's not even that big of a. But if you got to bring Asuka, Cena, Becky, Cody, and all these people to NXT just to compete, then don't tell me.
Well, and then
don't tell me AEW is not competition.
Well, and all your NXT titles right now are almost on regular roster superstars.
Which makes no sense. NXT should be a developmental brand, but they're trying to make it a third brand, and it's not that. Like it's the people on NXT. Majority of the people on NXT are not main roster ready. That's why there's a brand for them. That's what NXT is. It doesn't need to be a third brand.
So I'm like, hey, Kyle, I'm not as good as the main roster, but I can go down and beat up on all these NXT people and take their title. Yeah, it's great.
That's like
I get the
that's
Dominic Mysterio thing. Like that gets him heat. Like I'm okay with that to an extent because he's probably not main race.
Dom should be on NXT.
Right.
That's where Dom should be anyway.
So I like that because he gets heat like another, and now he stole one of their titles. I think that's the Becky Lynch thing. I think they just gave it to her because she never won that belt. Honestly,
it was like finishing her story, like Cody's story.
So now she's got to put somebody over, I guess.
Well, I don't think this is what I meant to say. Back to the Jade point, I think Tiffany Stratton comes up to main roster pretty soon as well. And maybe that's a feud you got built in right there with Jade and Tiffany Stratton to start each other off with on their main roster. But back to the NXT, like I'm not recording NXT. I'm not watching NXT. I'm not going to record NXT. Just because you load up the show with all these names, it doesn't make the show more important. Like the matches that are on that card are still not important. Like they're still not as important to me as the Dynamite matches. I'm 100% looking forward to Dynamite more than NXT. I don't care who you put on the show. That's not going to having John Cena and Cody Rhodes and all them on NXT is not going to make me watch NXT. Like it, I can see them on Monday. I don't need to see them on Tuesday.
Brandon, you got anything else you want to add to that?
No, it sounds good.
All right. My third and final off topic. CM Punk Survivor Series? Question mark. That's the rumor that he's going to show up at Survivor Series in some capacity in Chicago. I know I'll have different reactions. I'm excited about it because I think he's got this is it. I mean, if he messes this one up, I don't know where you go after this. So if they can work it out and they have the brands on WWE are different than AEW. They have a drawn line split. So if you can get him on one brand and he has enough people that don't dislike him enough. I mean, it's been a while since he's been there. So
Time out. You just said there's a hard split in WWE when we have people showing up on different shows every night.
More than AEW. They have certain. Well, if you have one of those belts that you can roam around with, remember that's why you got the undisputed title. You can run around
even without the belts. People are showing up on the shows randomly because they got a pass or something like that. Well, no, they're always showing up on. Anyway, sorry. Proceed.
You're good. I agree with you in this to a certain point. There are some people that float around, but they do have that. There's rosters. There's a roster for each one. They technically define that. Sometimes
allegedly
it varies. Yes. But I think there's been enough time that goes by. If he can get along with Triple H and the management in the back, there's not many people that are still in WWE that were there 10 years ago. There's not very many. I mean, it's kind of changed in the last 10 years. So if the ones that are around he can get along with, and maybe he's learned his lesson. Who knows? We'll see, I guess. But even if WWE gets 6 months out of him and he sells millions of dollars in merchandise, I think it's a good move for them. Honestly, financially, it's gonna be a jolt in ratings. People are still gonna, even when CM Punk, they're gonna tune in. I mean, I'm intrigued on what they're gonna do with him. And there'll be some that don't want to, but I think it's the majority of people are polarized. He's polarizing. I mean, he's going to draw eyeballs. He's going to draw money. And I think that they want the money. They want the eyeballs on their show. So I think he shows up in Chicago. I don't know what they're going to do with him. I don't know if he comes in the War Games match and interferes or he gets involved in it. I don't know. But I'm interested to see where he ends up.
Go ahead, Brandon. I'm gonna save mine for the end.
Yeah, well, and the thing with CM Punk is the one, like you say, he's polarizing, but also intriguing because when he left, we never thought we didn't know if we'd see him wrestle ever again. He broke that barrier with AEW, got kicked out once or suspended, whatever, came back, then messed it up again. And so after the AEW thing, there's talk, hey, CM Punk may never wrestle again. And now we're not even 2 months removed, and mean, it sounds like he's going to be in WWE pretty quick, and we just never thought we'd get him in WWE again, and especially because he burned a lot of bridges in UFC when he left there too, and they're the same company now too, so it'd be interesting to see how it goes, but it's also obviously intriguing, and it's in Chicago, so that's gonna be big. So take it over, Kyle.
When CM Punk came back to wrestling in AEW, I was excited. I was like, man, awesome. CM Punk's back. Then we had the brawl out situation in 2022 with whatever happened. Whoever was at fault, whatever. We all know the story. It is what it is. Okay, I'm all for giving him a second chance. Let's have him come back and see what he can do. He's not even back that long. He gets his own show catered to him. Collision gets his own show with the people he handpicked to be on that show. He has everything he wants. And then he still gets in a freaking situation with Jack Perry over the stupidest stuff. Like just almost wanting to get fired. So that's 2 strikes right there. The third strike for me is you already dropped a pipe bomb in WWE and have been talking mess about WWE for the past 7 years. And now all of a sudden, because you screwed it up, nobody else screwed it up for you, because you screwed it up in AEW, now you're tucking tail and running back to WWE. I'm over CM Punk. I could not care less whether he comes back or not. Yes, when he comes back, I'm sure he'll end up in WWE. I'm sure they will make buttloads of money off merchandise for CM Punk. That's great. That's awesome. From a business standpoint on it, I completely get what WWE's doing. As a fan, I don't care to see him because I like what WWE's got. You never hear any issues coming out of the WWE locker room. You never hear any issues. So why are we bringing a cancer into our locker room? That's just like, it's like trading for a player. Antonio Brown, for example, late in his career, he was a headache everywhere he went, always in trouble. Well, I'm not going to touch him with a 10-foot pole. I don't care how desperate my team is for a quarterback or for a receiver. I'm not touching him. Why am I going to bring that into my locker room? It's the same thing with CM Punk. I don't care how talented he is, how much money he can bring in. I don't need that negativity in my locker room. He's proved he's not an adult and can't interact with other adults. Like he's proven that in another wrestling company. He's already burnt bridges at WWE before. So yeah, let's let the wolf back into the sheep's area. Let's do that. It's a great idea. I'm over it. I don't care to see him.
So Kyle, what are you thinking? So you talked about the locker room and how there's not many things going on with WWE. Do we think can we blame Tony Khan as much as anybody, like for letting it happen more and not nipping it in the bud
Absolutely.
early?
Absolutely. Tony Khan is to blame for this as well. But at the same time, you have to take responsibility for your own actions. And I've never once heard CM Punk come out and say, you know what, I messed up. It's on me. He never once did that. He wanted to blame the Elite for everything that happened at All Out in 2022. And he's blaming Jack Perry for what happened at All In London. Like, he's not taking responsibility. He doesn't think he's the problem. But if everywhere you go, there's issues, you're obviously the problem. So
maybe they're able to control them a little better in this locker room. Maybe they've got a better way things are set up. I think, I've heard several people like Nash and some of the older guys say when they had issues in the locker room, they just handled it.
Yeah.
And so maybe WWE's, they can handle them a little bit better and make sure that things aren't done that aren't supposed to. And I mean, honestly, I'm a little sick of it, but honestly, I hope for him that he takes advantage of this opportunity, because WWE's throwing him, they're throwing him a life raft right now. I mean, because there's nobody else out there that's probably going to be big enough promotion to give him the time of day. So
here's my thing. Here's my thing. If Tony Khan gave him the world, gave him the keys to the kingdom, and he still screwed that up, what makes you think it's going to be any different in WWE? That's my only thing.
Yeah.
He had everything he could have ever asked for in AEW, everything he wanted, and he screwed it up not once but twice.
So does CM Punk still work for WWE at WrestleMania next year in Philadelphia?
I'm sure he will be. I'm sure he'll be there. I'm sure he will be. I have no doubt WWE will figure out a way to make this work. I'm just not a fan of it because I'm over CM Punk. the excitement I had when he first came back, I'm over it because it's too many backstage BS that we have to deal with when it comes to CM Punk, and I don't want to include that in my wrestling.
Yeah. So in 6 months when it's WrestleMania season, if he has come in and done, can he earn back the Kyle Owens respect?
I don't think he gives a damn whether he has my respect or not. But I mean, he was fine in AEW for a little bit. You know what I mean? I just, if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it's probably a duck. I mean, we've had this issue in WWE already. He's had 2 issues in AEW. Brandon mentioned the UFC issue. It seems he has issues everywhere he goes. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I know they're going to make money, and you're right. It will be polarizing. It will have eyes on the product. I get it. But as me personally, I could not care less whether CM Punk came back to ever wrestle again in his life.
He's an automatic storyline that writes itself.
He is.
So hopefully with Triple H in charge, he'll be able to write something out for him, and it'll work out for his sake. I hope so. Because like I said, I think it's going to be good TV. We'll just see how long it lasts. Speaking of good TV, let's talk about this pretty solid Fastlane, in my opinion, guys. I think overall, we came into the looking at the card. It was like, well, it's okay card. I mean, it's solid. It's there's a lot of storylines that we were looking forward to seeing. But the match quality overall was really solid to me. I didn't think there was like a match that was just like terrible. I thought they were all pretty good matches. And I enjoyed the card overall. What do you think overall about it?
I liked it. It was a good show. It honestly felt like a Monday Night Raw, though. I don't think it was a premium live event. If this was AEW and I had to pay $50 for that, I would have been upset. But it wasn't a bad show by any means. I don't want to say that. But
and you think about what was not on there, Kyle. You didn't have Gunther, your international champion, or your intercontinental. Sorry, getting the international. And you had Roman Reigns, he's been in hiatus for a couple months.
I forgot he even wrestled.
You had one of your women's titles that wasn't on the show. I mean, there was a lot of belts that weren't on the show.
It's a B-level pay-per-view. It's not one of the big pay-per-views. So I get that. But to me, I want to see matches on pay-per-view that I'm not going to see on Monday Night Raw. And I would say probably 3, maybe 4 of the 5 matches we saw Saturday, we'll probably see the exact same thing tonight on Monday Night Raw.
Rematch.
I mean, it wasn't a bad show. Again, I'm with you. The in-ring work was good, especially that women's match. I thought the women overperformed. The last man standing match between Seth and Shinsuke was really good, although I did doze off in the middle of it. I thought overall it was a decent show. It just felt like a Monday Night Raw. It didn't have the pay-per-view feel for me, but it wasn't a bad show.
I thought it was a decent. I didn't have high expectations. I had it on. I had the sound on, but it was like the secondary TV because you had college football on, you had Major League Baseball on. There was so much other, and that's why. I mean, we know what we're getting with WWE at this time of year. The fact that we even we're getting a John Cena and Cody Rhodes still is they're giving us a little bit, but we're about to get Roman back, but this is not WWE is not putting everything in their tank right now because they know what they're up against football and the baseball playoffs, and especially it's kind of they used to always go on Sundays. Well, then you're against the NFL. Now you're going on Saturdays. We're going against multiple college football. It's kind of like pick your poison. Would you rather go up against one big NFL game or a bunch of possibly big college football games? And luckily, the college football schedule this week was all the big games were earlier in the day, and the night games had some intriguing ones, but it wasn't like, hey, must-see matchups. You already had Texas, Oklahoma was already over. I think the best game at night was like Notre Dame, Louisville. It ended up being some good games, but I had wrestling on, and at first I was just like, well, the first match I was locked in, and then other than that, I'm just kind of watching to see if something happens, and then we'll get to the matches, but the main event really, really drew me in, and I had football and baseball on, but I missed some big moments in football and baseball because Seth and Shinsuke really had me I was laser focused because they made it compelling.
All right. Well, let's talk about the first match then. Was the little shocker to me as Judgment Day lose their titles to Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. We all missed this one. We all had Judgment Day. I thought the match was really good. It was a good opener match. I mean, it was solid. They had the shenanigans as normal with Judgment Day. You had JD McDonough hitting Damian Priest with the briefcase. So we'll see what turns up with that. I'm sure that's not going to be good for him. I really did not see this coming. So I guess this is how they keep Cody Rhodes away from the main title right now. They're going to put him in this little program with Jey Uso, and I'm interested to see what they're going to do with him now. I think they've of course, the whole locker room still doesn't really like Jey a whole lot right now. He's still trying to earn trust. But so it's going to be interesting to see where they go. I'm sure we'll hear tonight where they're going to go with this. But guys, really solid match. I was interested. I was really compelled. I definitely was shocked by the ending.
Yeah, they started off the pay-per-view with a surprise, to kick off the show. You said this is a way to keep him away from Roman. I think this gets him closer to Roman because now you can build in the story with Jey on getting Cody and Jey back over to SmackDown, and then Cody getting back involved with the Bloodline.
So could we see a Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes versus Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa for the tag titles?
Possibly.
Oh, I think we're getting that. I'd say 100%.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying I think this gets Cody closer to Roman, not further away from Roman. But as far as the match goes, it was a very good match. Typical shenanigans like you thought. JD McDonough messed up. I'm interested to see if Damian Priest choke slams him with the South of Heaven tonight. Because, Damian's not going to be happy about that at all. But typical shenanigans. I was surprised to see him take the titles off of Judgment Day. But really, Judgment Day's story doesn't need the titles. Like what they got going on, the titles aren't necessary to be involved in it.
It just makes things kind of more up in the air with him too.
Exactly. And I mean, they got enough going on right now. They got Rhea, who's got the championship. They got Dom, who has a championship. Damian's got the Money in the Bank briefcase. And then the situation with JD and Finn and Damian, they got enough going on. They don't need titles involved in it. As far as Cody and Jey, the only way this really makes sense is to give them the titles. But now you have, what about KO and Sammy? Because KO and Sammy said they wanted next up at the titles. So now Cody and Jey are supposed to be friends with KO and Sammy. So now do we get a little feud with them going into what I think is building for a huge War Games match? Because I don't know if y'all saw SmackDown on Friday night, but they basically set up War Games. They basically set it up with Judgment Day, including JD McDonough, and then they had Cody, Cena, LA Knight, and Jey out there, where there's two people missing. KO and Sammy are the two that are going to be included for War Games at Survivor Series. So I don't know how they intertwine all that, but I mean, it adds intrigue. So I'm at least interested in what's going on.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking too that we may get, eventually get KO and Sammy against Cody and Jey, or we get or maybe a triple threat KO and Sammy against Jimmy and Solo and Jey and Cody. There were some cool spots in this match. The 1D Cody cutter, I like that. They did that a couple times. Or they tried once and then hit it, and then the crossroads on the table was pretty dirty. But then the one thing that kind of it surprised me, and the one thing that kind of bothers me is we finally got main event Jey Uso on his own. He's not in a tag team with his brother anymore. He's not in a group. And then we slap a tag title back on him. I was wanting to see singles Jey Uso. Give him a singles run. Let him go against Gunther. Let him take Austin Theory's title. Let something. But and you immediately slap a tag title back on him. I don't like that part. I want to see him do something as a singles competitor. And still, because obviously he's going to go back to the Bloodline story eventually. But he went to a different show. Let him be him. He got his own music. This was main event Jey Uso time, and it's now I'm a second fiddle to a tag team again. So
yeah, I agree with that. I didn't even think about that until you just said it. But yeah, I'm with you. It's kind of like, yeah, hey, we want you to be main event Jey Uso with Cody Rhodes, not on your own though. Also, there was something else I was going to say. I thought about it as soon as you were talking. Now it just left me again. Never mind. Continue.
Yeah, this will be interesting. I think the stories they've got with this little match in general. You got Judgment Day's got its own little story. Cody and Jay. We've talked about in the past how WWE only had the Bloodline story going for the longest time. They've got a lot of different stories going on now, and this is interesting. I want to go watch tonight now. It's just going to be.
And the Bloodline story should be picking up because Roman's back Friday. So that should be picking up again.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Oh, here's what I was going to say. Sidebar. Did y'all see Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes at the at the press conference? Drunk as snot. They hilarious. It was so funny.
They were celebrating.
Jay was Cody might have just been drunk.
Jay was out of there. Jay was yeet.
Yeah. Which one was the one? Which one was the one that was it? Jimmy, the one that got arrested?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. I think actually they both have DWIs, but I think Jimmy was more recent. But yeah, Jay wasn't driving nowhere Saturday night. I hope not anyway.
Our next match on the card, the LWO versus the Hurt Profits. I'm going to coin them. I don't know if they've officially given them that name, but I'm going to give them that name. This one confuses me a little bit. Okay. Here's why. The match was okay. It wasn't anything great. It was a decent match. But, okay, so we put the Hurt Profits or Hurt Business or Hurt Street Profits or whatever they want to call them together. And I don't understand. You put them and then they lose. They've lost several times together. What are they doing with them? I mean, is this just part of their story? I don't get it. Then you just bring back Carlito, which it was great. The pop was great. I love Carlito. He looks like $1 million. He looked amazing in the ring. I was just really shocked that we all missed this one too. LWO gets the win, and I guess is Carlito back? Because if they're going to keep bringing him back for the team, they need him because he definitely brings another dynamic to the LWO.
Here's what I didn't understand. Friday night, Cruz del Toro, one of them, got hurt. And Ray was like, hey, let me make a phone call. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, then Saturday, the match starts, and it's a 3-on-2. Okay. Then Ray and Santos get their ass kicked majority of the match. And then all of a sudden, Carlito comes out. So logically, let me think about this. I call my friend up. That's like me calling one of y'all. Hey, friend, I'm going to need your help in this match tomorrow night. Oh, okay, cool. I'll show up about, 15 minutes into it after you're already beat down, and then I'll show up. Like, that just makes no sense.
Maybe he was in Puerto Rico and he couldn't get a flight.
That man was already dressed, ready to go, oiled up, ready to walk out. He was sitting back there just waiting.
Maybe his flight got delayed and he didn't get in the building until
if you're gonna bring him in the match, start him in the match. And then he came in and wrestled for 90 seconds. So if he's back, bring him back. If he's just a one-off, then okay, cool, whatever. But logically, it just didn't make sense. I'm gonna be honest with you. I did not pay attention to this match very much. I was uninterested. I'm kind of over LWO. I think I'm ready for Santos to turn on Ray or something. I'm kind of over LWO.
LWO needs to be a heel group.
Well, they need to do something. And I'm with you. I don't know what they're doing with the Hurt Profits. It makes no sense to try and build them up only to lose because Carlito came back. I don't know. I didn't care about this match. Shout out to Pizza Hut. But I didn't care about this match at all.
Yeah, it was interesting. I agree. I don't know what they're doing with these two groups, but it's confusing. I think they need to turn. I agree. I think they need to just get tired of Ray. They need to turn on Rey Mysterio and then all go heel.
Carlito coming was like the worst kept secret because I knew that everyone kind of said that too. It was going to be, and I was like you, Kyle. I wasn't paying much attention to the match. I thought Carlito was already out there because I knew he was going to be but I didn't like. I had already thought had been in the match already, and then all of a sudden I hear his music,
which they changed. By the way, that's another pet peeve of mine.
They got new music.
Why change Carlito's music?
Yes, they got new music.
Why?
Yeah, I spit in the face of those who don't think they were cool or something, whatever it is. But yeah, like so. Yeah, so I thought he was already out there because I was like you, Kyle, I was half paying attention, and I just assumed. I mean, the Street Profits are going to win because they've been building them up, and if they're not going to win, but I thought they were going to win, and something was going to happen with Ray and Santos because they've been kind of, they had their match. I thought they were going to, like you said, start building something, little friction there, and then Carlito comes in and, like you said, wins and doesn't do much at all, and just comes in and wins. Is like, wait, what? Why did it just?
Let me tell you a story, guys.
But it does sound like Carlito's there.
Let me write a story for you here. Okay, this is what needs to happen.
Let me talk to you.
Yeah. So Dominic has issues with Rhea. He finally loses his title. He has issues. He goes to the LWO. Hey, let's overthrow Ray. Okay. Now he's the new Eddie. Heel LWO with Dominic in charge. Tell me that's not intriguing. Everyone hates it.
It's intriguing other than the fact of Dominic being in charge because he's playing the role. He's playing the role right now of he doesn't say anything when he can't make a decision without Mommy's approval. He can't even voice his opinion.
He gets tired of Mommy, and he goes out on his own. He takes his own route.
Ain't nobody getting tired of Mommy. Let me tell you.
Maybe she gets tired of him and kicks into the curb after he loses the title. Remember, she was upset with him when he lost it before. So I mean, he loses his title, he loses favor.
Which also, side note, why give a title to Trick Williams just to take it off of him in 2 days?
For a week. That was interesting. But then he comes in and it's like, hey, Ray's, bringing you guys down. We're all equals, Ray's. And so he turns the LWO against Ray. They kick Ray out. Now he runs the LWO, and they're a heel faction, and they start adding people, and they just jump people every week. Go back to the old NWLW days when they were and make them interesting. I don't know.
I like that better than the direction they got going right now. Because I don't know what they're doing. I mean, you got the U.S. title on Ray for what? You have the whole Santos Ray dynamic where Santos wanted the title, then lost to Ray, and now he's okay with it. Like now they're good.
Maybe Ray should just let him hold it like Christian held the one for Luchasaurus. Maybe he should just let him hold on his shoulder and just say, "Hey, it's okay. You can just hold my title and say
it's different." Ray's not a dinosaur. Luchasaurus is a dinosaur. He can't hold his own title. Okay, Ray can hold his own title. I don't know what they're doing, and I hate it because I love the Street Profits. I think Montez and Angelo Dawkins are great. I will say Montez got a little on my nerves Saturday. He was kind of overplaying he was overplaying like the mocking and he was just doing too much. Like I understand Montez is out there and he does like some wild stuff, but to me it was almost too much. Like he was trying too hard to be heelish. Like you could be a heel naturally, just don't overdo it. And I think he was trying to oversell it. This was the worst match of the night in my opinion. Yeah. And coming into it, I wouldn't have thought that. But to me, this just did not hit. I was not interested. And I couldn't care less about what happened.
Yeah, I think that was the thing. It was like, it wasn't a really good match. Neither team has a direction. I don't know where they're doing with either team. And I was just a little bored. I mean, it was the worst match of the night of all five to me. I agree. All right.
Look, Brandon must be watching baseball. He
is quiet over there. He is zoned in.
I'm good. I'm just listening. Hey, y'all saying some good stuff.
All right. Next match, WWE Women's Championship match. Io Sky, Asuka, Charlotte Flair. They're building something with this. I honestly, after last week, I thought maybe Bayley would turn and cost Io the title after Charlotte kind of called her out, saying she was playing second fiddle and what happened to the old Bayley and ended up she actually helped Io retain the title. This was a solid match. all these women can work in the ring. So I knew when they had these three together, it wasn't going to be a bad match. It was solid. Um, I just don't know where they're going with this. I wish the whole thing with Bailey. I don't know if they're waiting on Dakota Kai to heal, if that's why they're keeping them together. But I honestly don't understand. Like, why is Bailey okay with? She's the role model. She's like the leader of the group. Why is she okay with Io having the title there? This is another one of those weird ones to me. Like, Charlotte called her out and pointed some things out that I was hoping that she would say, you're right, and would not want her to have the title. I think there's got to be something coming down the pipe with her and Bailey.
I agree. I think Bailey is eventually going to turn on Io. I thought it was a very good match. I thought that, we had a triple threat match at Payback, I believe. It wasn't as good as the one this past Saturday night. I think they did a very good job, all three women in the ring. I was nervous for a second. I thought they were about to give the title to Charlotte. I got really nervous. Thankfully, they didn't. But yeah, I thought once Bailey, because Io's been saying for weeks, Bailey, I don't want your help. I don't want your help. I
She
don't
set
need
this
you out
match
there.
up. She volunteered this match for her as well.
And then came out there even when Io said, I don't want your help. And then nearly cost Io the match. It ended up winning her the match. So there is a weird dynamic going on there. And I'm like you, Bret. Maybe I didn't think about it, but maybe they are waiting for Dakota Kai to get healthy before they make any move, because Dakota's going to have to pick a side. Who does she go with? Does she go with Io or does she go with Bailey?
And I feel like they probably would have already done that if she hadn't have gotten hurt. Maybe I feel like the story, I don't know, it was back several months back when Dakota first got hurt. I feel like this story was at a point where they were going to split, and then maybe they kept them together because they were going to use Dakota and they wanted to wait till she got back. I feel like they prolonged it maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I could see that. Damage Control needs to be split up. They're not doing anything, and Bailey needs to get some wins. I don't like the fact. I think Bailey is awesome in the ring, and I don't like the fact that she keeps losing every single week and that she keeps eating pins. Friday night, here's another thing. Friday night on SmackDown, they had a 4-way match with all three women that were in the triple threat and Bailey. Okay, WWE, tell me who's taking the pin without telling me who's taking the pin. Like, I don't like how they're doing Bailey right now. They're not making her strong at all. They're making her seem very, very weak, and that's not Bailey. So I'm like you. I think soon she needs to snap, turn on Io, and maybe take the title from Io. Maybe she's the one that takes the title.
And she's amazing in the ring. They're really handicapping her.
And she's great on the mic. Like, she is great at what she does, and they are treating her like she's a jobber right now. And I don't. She's enhancement talent is what she's doing. And I think she is going to be the one to take the title from Io, simply because I think eventually she's going to get tired of Io getting all this recognition. She's going to want that title back. She's going to turn on Io and take it from her at some point. When that happens, I have no idea, but they need to get Bailey some wins.
Yeah, I thought I agree with y'all, and I was scared like Kyle that Charlotte was going to win. And if I didn't want Charlotte to win, but if it was, I thought it was going to be with Bailey helping, kind of assisting there. But like, it was weird that I wrote that as a note. I was like, it's weird that Bailey helped win. Yeah, I know they're together, but eventually that's got to stop. And then like I know that, like, I guess Dakota's still hurt, but why are we still trotting her out? Like, she adds nothing to. If she's not wrestling, she has nothing to the story. She adds nothing right now. The only way she'll add something is if she assists, if Bailey does turn, then if she picks a side. And that's the only, but right now she's adding, like, she's maybe just there. She's not.
Maybe they're just keeping her out there, Brandon, so that you never know when she's going to have to pick a side. Maybe if they keep putting her out there every week, then, you don't expect anything. And then when it happens, she's already there, instead of, all of a sudden, just one time she comes out there and then it happens. I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm good with slow burns and everything, but you drag us out too long, we'll lose interest in because it's like, the Io and them haven't gained enough. Bailey, yes, she has, but Io hasn't gained enough notoriety yet for us to be interested in her long enough without, she's got a title, but we're getting tired. Like we said, we're getting tired of Damage Control. And that they need to, they don't have to do it too quick, but it needs to come sooner rather than later. And So we'll see what happens, and we'll see where this SmackDown Women's division goes right now, because like Asuka's had now a lot of title shots, and Charlotte, she's always going to get a lot of title shots. Like, who does Io face now? Does she finally get one of them one-on-one? I mean, I don't.
I'm guessing.
Or do we find
Bianca's still hurt, right?
I think so.
I will say this. As much as I hate on Charlotte, I will say, let me give her a compliment. Normally, Io is the genius of the sky, and she is flawless in the air. She missed her moonsault on Saturday. The one on the ring, she completely missed Asuka. And then Charlotte went up there and nailed her moonsault. So I will say, Charlotte hit a nice moonsault Saturday night.
Well, she's good in the ring. I mean, I think that they've honestly...
Her moonsault's not. Charlotte's moonsault's terrible. But she hit it the other night, so it looked decent, and Io missed completely.
Yeah. I think the way they messed up with her was when she was passing the title back and forth, when they were just trying to up her, title reigns. I think that now, because now it's like, if you look at how long she's had the titles, it's not really longer than some of the other ones. It's just she had these short reigns. Remember when her and Sasha Banks would have those matches back and forth, and they passed it back, back and forth and back and forth. One of them, it was like they couldn't win on the pay-per-view. Was that Sasha Banks? So Sasha, Charlotte would always win the pay-per-view. Then they'd have a match on Raw. It would be a banger match, and she'd get the title back. And
Sasha didn't win on. Sasha was over at Manias until the one that me and Brandon went to at 38 in Arlington. She was over. She had lost at every Mania until that one. I think it was like 0-6 or 0-5. She had not won at a Mania.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of,
she had won the tag title one, but not as a single.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the
because her and Bailey won the
of Sasha Banks. We didn't even mention it earlier, but I'm excited to see Miss Monet show up in AEW and give a little shot to their women's division. So that's going to be another one I think that kind of WWE ran off, and AEW is going to take advantage of it.
I'm excited for Jamie Hayter to come back too.
Yeah, I think you're going to see one of them tomorrow night.
You think?
That would be.
Yeah.
I don't think we're seeing Mercedes. I think Jamie would come in before Mercedes.
Yeah, if Saraya wins, I think Saraya wins.
Yeah, Saraya unfortunately is going to win.
They got to save one of them for Is there going to be a pay-per-view in Boston anytime soon?
No, Full Gear is coming up in LA though.
LA, okay.
We didn't talk about this. What about FTR? They dropped the titles on Collision Saturday night, and then Dax put out a tweet saying "Top guys out."
Yep.
So are they moving? Are they leaving? I don't think so, because they're under contract till 2027 with AEW. So I don't think they're going anywhere. But it's interesting.
I thought it ended Sunday.
They just re-upped because they just signed a new contract around the same time the Bucks.
Okay, because I thought it said it ended. I thought it said it ended 10/7. So
I think they signed a new contract. I could be wrong, but
they're great friends with CM Punk. We know that. So.
They're also really good friends with Edge, who just came, or Adam Copeland, who just got back to AEW. So why would they?
Yeah. Well, or maybe we get that. Maybe they get some single runs going on. So maybe we see some single Cash Wheeler and some single.
So
Dax Harwood.
I got a source here. It says FTR signed AEW till 2027.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay.
But so I don't think they're going anywhere. But it was very interesting. I know it's off topic, but to take the tag titles off FTR to give it to Big Bill and Ricky Starks.
Big Bill,
very odd. It's big.
He's 7 feet tall, and you can't teach that.
Teach that. I think that, but I am glad on the AEW side of things that at least we're not getting FTR Young Bucks 4 at Full Gear. It'll probably be Big Bill and Ricky Starks versus Young Bucks, which that's okay. I'm fine with that. I don't want to see another FTR Young Bucks match. So anyway, sorry. Back to WWE.
No worries. All right.
You, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Allergies are kicking in here. All right. John Cena and LA Knight. Yeah. Talk to me. Over the Bloodline. This is going to make some interesting TV. This match was really good. I enjoyed it. Of course, I love LA Knight. He's amazing. Seeing John Cena in the ring, because I have been like saturated with him for the last 10 years. It's good to see him in the ring. He can still go. I mean, he's got your normal John Cena moves, and I think since I haven't seen him in a while, it was exciting to get to see some of that. Now he is lacking in the hair department up top. I wish he would just go ahead and buzz it off and do that shortcut on his hair, but it's just funny. But man, I really enjoyed this match, guys. I feel like that I knew that LA Knight was going to go over with the win, just because they're pushing him to the moon right now. I don't know where they're going with him, but they need to find something. They need to find a title for him soon because he's so over. He's over. Cena's over right now. You don't hear as much of the Cena sucks chants as you have in years past. But Mr. Tribal Chief is not going to be happy this Friday night that his two people lost. So it's going to be interesting.
I am really looking forward to SmackDown Friday night. Matter of fact, normally when I get home Friday night after Red Zone and all that, I sit down and I edit the highlights and do all that, make the YouTube video. I'll do that still. I'm gonna have SmackDown on because I'm gonna have to see what Roman says. I'm glad LA Knight and John Cena won. The only problem I have with this match is that Cena was in the ring for like 15 minutes just getting beat down, where we didn't see LA Knight a lot. I think LA Knight should have been featured more because that's your. I understand John Cena's the superstar, he's the GOAT, but LA Knight's going to be around longer than John Cena is right now. Like Cena said it in the press conference afterwards. Once Hollywood gets back up and running, he's gone. So I would want to build LA Knight more, which he still gets the rub with John Cena and he got the win. I get it. But the bloodline situation is fascinating to me because this whole time that Roman's been out, Jimmy's been the tribal chief. He's been acting as the tribal chief, calling the shots, doing all that. If I'm Roman, I come back and say, who the hell let you back in the bloodline? You super kicked me. Like who authorized you coming back in? Like, so that's going to be an interesting dynamic, and it's different if they're winning, but they just lost, and Jimmy Uso is not technically part of the bloodline because he super kicked the tribal chief. I don't think you get away scot-free for doing that. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that dynamic. I'm also intrigued. What's the deal with the bloodline and the Judgment Day? Because Friday night on SmackDown, Rhea Ripley and Paul Heyman sat in the back room and came to an agreement, and they're supposed to be working together, but you saw none of that interaction Saturday night. So I don't know what's going on with that. I'm very intrigued in this bloodline story. It had been dull for a while, but with Roman coming back, with everything that's happened, because the dang Tribal Chief's been off since SummerSlam, so a lot has happened since in his absence. I'm excited for him to come back.
It's a nice vacation.
Oh, he's probably drinking coconuts on the beaches of Samoa. But the I mean, it's intriguing because so much has happened since he's been gone. I'm excited to see what happens when he comes back. But so I think giving Jimmy and Solo the loss is to further that bloodline storyline for when Roman comes back on Friday.
Yeah, and that was a decent match. Like we saw, like you said, too much Cena at one time. We didn't get LA Knight in there quick enough. But one of my favorite parts of the match happened before the match. When I hear that "Let's go," I get every time the Pat McAfee coming out and him coming out and introducing John Cena, and then him doing the commentary. And I've heard Corey is technically cleared. He can if he wants to, he can wrestle again. I hope one day we get a Pat McAfee Corey Graves match.
Sign me up.
As just middle of the WrestleMania. That because I never really got to see, because I wasn't really watching NXT at the time. I didn't get to see Corey Graves much or at all really, and so I'd love to see that. But their back and forth on commentary is hilarious, and because Cole loves him some Pat McAfee, and I mean and so it's just Pat McAfee was at Texas OU. Just a couple hours before, and then all of a sudden he's in Indy, and he brought his Indy belt, and he was just, it brought a lot of energy to that match, and The match was, it was a decent match, and interested, like you said, to see what when Roman comes back and what they do with the story.
I agree. I've totally forgot. Pat McAfee was the highlight of the night for me. I love Pat McAfee. I'm the same thing. He was on the intro, and that got me thinking. I was like, he was on the intro, and it's in Indy. Is he showing up? But then I was like, well, he was just at Texas OU. Surely there's no way he's going to hop on a flight and show up. But sure enough, there comes. Hey, let's go. I said, okay, Pat's here. Then he got on commentary. I love it. I wish Pat was on commentary more often, but he's a busy man. Got a lot to do. But I'm excited anytime Pat's on there, and I'm with you. I think Pat McAfee and Corey Graves, that's got to be a WrestleMania match at some point. I mean, it maybe WrestleMania 40. Just give them a match. Just let them go at it in the ring. I think that'd be awesome. Who gets the win though, Pat or Corey?
I like to see Pat, but if it's Corey's one-off, it may be Corey. Like, he hasn't had a match in a long time. If it's his
we're never going to hear the end of it on commentary if Corey wins.
Oh
God. No, and that probably actually be better. That'd probably actually be better for content.
Yeah.
So, it's funny, and too, Corey. I mean, McAfee had his Colts legacy NFL belt. Did y'all see? So in the front row, did you see the guy that had the Indiana?
Yeah, the Indiana Hoosier,
Indiana University belt. Yeah. Did y'all realize who that was?
Oh, that was
Declan.
Yeah, Shane McMahon's kid.
Declan McMahon. Yeah. He plays. I didn't know he plays at Indiana, and I kept seeing that. I was like, why do they keep showing this kid? And then I found out it was Shane McMahon's son. And it made me feel old.
Yeah, Shane McMahon's son. And then there was a guy that was sitting where the hard camera could see that had a McAfee jersey on the entire time in the stands. I thought that was neat too. But and the crowd was good in Indy. I know we talk about crowds all the time. The crowd was good there. Now, Pat maybe oversold it.
Yeah, McAfee was trying to give him WrestleMania.
No WrestleMania. He oversold that. But the crowd was good Saturday night.
Yep, so it's gonna be interesting. I'm really intrigued. Like I said, this is gonna be interesting. I might just try to watch that on the way home from Dallas Friday night. Maybe try to tune that in on the car. I'm sure Rob will be driving, so maybe I can stick that up on.
Okay, so no SmackDown.
No. Rob usually drives on long trips, so
especially not to Dallas. Those people don't know how to drive up there. Just look at the professor.
Oh wow. He's not here. We take shots. That's right. I'll take shots. He's still trailing the pick'em contest. So
Diggs catching straight.
10-0, baby. 10-0.
Yeah.
I saw that. Man, what?
I got 9-1. I was right behind him.
It was my Brownsboro pick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's talk main event, guys. Man. Talking about a banger. There was some damage done in this match. These guys are shortening each other's careers. When we first announced this match again, I know Kyle's probably going to agree with you on this. I was like, again, why are we going to do this? But the last man standing kind of gave it a new twist. They did the whole play up that Rollins' back is hurt. He's going to go after his back, yada, yada, yada. I mean, we had trash cans, we had tables, we had fights in the stands, we had red mist, we had a little bit of everything in this match. Kendo sticks. They beat the living crap out of each other. I really enjoyed this match way more than I thought I was going to before the pay-per-view started. I thought this was my match of the night. I thought the physicality and the brutality in this match, where they go from here with these two, I don't know. I don't think you can top that. I think this needs to end this feud at this point, and move Seth on to someone else. I'd like to see it Gunther, but he still has the other title at this point. But I think these two guys deserved a standing O after this one. That was a great match.
So, as I mentioned earlier, I was dozing off in this one. And it's not because the match was bad. I'm like you, though. I think it needs to end here. But here's the problem. You built Shinsuke up as this, dominant heel that, all this stuff. And then he loses clean to Seth in a last man standing. So how am I supposed to take Shinsuke seriously anymore? Like, you're supposed to be this badass dude. Well, you just lost to a guy with a bad back. So I can't take Shinsuke serious. So I don't know what they do with him. And then the Seth thing, this story with Seth seems eerily similar to the Orange Cassidy title reign with the International Championship. Because if you remember, Orange Cassidy, his whole thing was, I'm tired. Like, I'm just beat up. Like, and he was banged up every week. It was his back, it was his hand, it was his shoulder, it was his ribs. It was always something with Orange Cassidy, and he was the working man's champion. He kept defending the title. They're kind of doing that same thing with Seth. Again, don't tell me WWE doesn't watch AEW. They're doing the same thing with Seth.
So Dean Ambrose is showing up, and he's taking the title off.
No, I do think they're doing this. I think Seth is going to lose this title at some point. Maybe they stretch it to Mania. I don't know if they can.
Is there anybody besides Gunther that you're interested in right now?
Taking the title off Seth?
Yeah.
LA Knight, but he's on the wrong brand.
Yeah.
When Damien's got the briefcase.
Yeah, so that's going to come into play at some point.
Yeah, I kind of thought about that too. That would be.
But when do you take the title off Seth? I mean, he hadn't had a bad title run, but he also hasn't done anything. I mean, this match with Shinsuke was good, but what's the follow-up? Who's his next opponent? Like, there's nobody lined up for Seth.
Big Bronson Reed.
I bet you
Omos.
No, I bet you for the Saudi show that's coming up, it'll probably be Seth and Ricochet. I think Ricochet is his next feud. But when he gets to Survivor Series, I don't know who
So I saw the start of Raw. I watched about 5 or 10 minutes before we started, and I saw a triple threat match tonight between Ricochet. I didn't see the match, but I saw it announced. Ricochet, Chad Gable, and Big Bronson Reed. The winner was going to get a shot at the international or the Intercontinental. I'm getting those. Those are too close.
Well, Gable's going to win that one then.
But how many times are we going to see Gable and go at Gunther? I mean,
I think they wanted Gunther to get the streak, the record. I think Gable takes the title off Gunther because Gunther needs to go after Seth's belt. So I think Gable does beat Gunther. I think Gable wins that triple threat tonight, and I think he beats Gunther, whether it be at the Saudi show or at Survivor Series. One of those, I think Gable takes the title from Gunther, and then that clears up Gunther to go for Seth.
That's the only thing that makes sense to me right now is Gunther takes it off of Seth.
But what do you do with Seth in the meantime, though? That's the thing. And that Gunther-Seth match, that's a Mania match. So you have to stretch that out till WrestleMania in April.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a long time you got to have somebody lined up because you don't want to put the title on Gunther before Mania. You want him to have that moment.
Problem is they haven't really built anybody that I feel like is a suitable opponent.
Yeah, but I think there's always a built-in storyline with Seth's back right now. Like I'm not going to say anybody, but pretty much anybody can be a believable opponent because anybody could break Seth's back. So, Michael Cole said it's hanging on by a thread.
So the next Raw, we got Seth freaking Rollins versus KO Kyle Owens in the main event.
I would get stomped out by Seth Rollins for sure. He'd hit me with a stomp, and I would not get up.
But Uncle Kevin would come out and help you.
I hope so. It was a fun match, though. I do think the last man standing match, it was a fun match. The Falcon Arrow through the table off the balcony thing was vicious. There were some vicious spots in this. Seth going through the announce table, just falling off the ladder. I thought that was pretty intense too. There were some big spots in this match. It was as wild and as crazy as you expected a last man standing match to be. I do think it was better than their other match at Payback. I think this one delivered more because of the stipulation. And that was really the only way I was okay with getting this match is with the stipulation added onto it because, I mean, this is kind of how you want the blow-off feud to blow off the feud. You want a last man standing because that really is the winner of he is the last man. Now, granted, he was only standing by like half a second more than Shinsuke, but he was still the last man standing. That should end the feud. We should not see Shinsuke and Seth interact anymore for a while. But knowing WWE, they'll probably have them wrestle in a rematch next Monday night or something.
I think it's tonight. I think that's a rematch tonight.
Yeah.
Still cage match or coffin match.
God, you talked about Seth falling off the ladder onto the table. You know, Shinsuke used the miss. We don't see that often from him. We got the early miss from Oscar earlier in the night. You know, right before the Shinsuke did the red miss, looked like blood, and it looked cool though. Like especially they showed that shot of him. It's like I look kind of badass there. Like, and so you know, you don't see that from him. It was just kind of a subtle, hey, blow mist in your face, you're gonna fall. And I thought it was a really good match. And you know, I'd always thought a last man standing match, you know, with Seth's back and everything. I was like, okay, this will be maybe where they, you know, use Priest to take up the title. But then but the two things that, you know, Rhea told Priest, hey, no, you're not going to. So, but you never know. Priest could be like, okay, I'm done with this. I'm gonna do my own thing. But the other thing is where the match ended, I was like, oh, well, they're not gonna do it because they're miles away from the ring. And so once it got away from there, I was like, well, we're not getting the cash in. So I liked, you know, the match, but then how WWE, they did a quick, like 2-minute montage of the pay-per-view, like right after, before going to the like press conference. They did this cool little, I mean, they showed you like it was like football type highlights. It was like red zone touchdown montage. I thought I've never seen them do that before.
They do that at the end of every pay-per-view.
I've never seen it. I've seen like kind of a recap. I thought what they did there I thought was different.
Oh, okay.
It looked different to me. I don't know. It just I thought it was different. I thought it added a little. You know, I know they normally do like they'll come back and they'll show like but they'll show like clips and images. They actually showed like a highlight reel without Cole's commentary. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, another thing that annoyed me about this show, I forgot to mention this at the start. In the middle of the match, I get it's Fastlane. I get it. I understand. But in the middle of the match, when we get replays and we hear this,
those cars on the stage were awesome.
Could have done without that. But I think somebody noticed it or something because it was really loud at the first of the show. And by the last man standing match, it was a lot quieter. So I think somebody realized.
So I need to add that to my broadcast, that zooming car. When I do a replay, zoom replay.
Like, I get it. It's Fastlane. The first time I heard it, I was like, are we seriously going to do this all night? And then the second replay, like, yep, we're doing this all night. Awesome. Okay.
Oh, man. I think so overall, we kind of agree this. I think it over-delivered of what we are expecting then. Is that kind of the consensus? We kind of came in thinking it would be okay. We thought it's one of those B-level pay-per-views. We all kind of agree that. But as far as what they had in the card, I feel like the matches were, except for the one, to me, the other 4 matches were solid.
Yeah, they were good matches. Like I said, I'll still stand by that. I think it was a Monday Night Raw on a Saturday. Almost like watching a Collision on Saturday night. It didn't feel like a pay-per-view to me. It didn't have the pay-per-view feel to it, but that doesn't mean it was a bad show. I thought it was an entertaining show, and I liked the 5 matches. Here's the thing. The show didn't start till about 7:20 because they had, they did the whole going through the storyline with Cody and Jay and the Judgment Day and all that, then the entrances. So it didn't start till 7:20 and it ended before 10. It was almost like a 2-hour pay-per-view, which when you have 5 matches, that gives you time to let everything breathe. Let everything breathe and let it unfold instead of like AEW. Oh, okay, that match ends. Okay, let's go. Start the next match. Let's go. Keep going. Like I would rather have, it's quality over quantity. I would rather have 5 solid matches in a 2.5-hour pay-per-view than 15 matches in a 4-hour pay-per-view. Like I like the layout of this pay-per-view. It just didn't feel like a pay-per-view, but I like the layout of it. And it was a decent show.
Well, it reminds us a lot of how Triple H used to do the takeovers. He used to do those 5 matches, 5 pretty solid matches. And so I feel like this is the blueprint now for these secondary premium live events. The WrestleManias are still going to be 2 night, 15, 16 matches. SummerSlam's going to be, 10, 12 matches. Royal Rumble is going to be not many matches because you get the 2 Rumble matches, but it's going to be a big long card. And we'll see what they do with Survivor Series. We're getting War Games. I still wish they would give us at least one traditional Survivor Series match. And I loved how they used to do those, and I wish they'd give us at least one of those. But I think we're just getting straight War Games. But
yeah, I mean, but the War Games though, that's going to be 6-on-6. It's going to be chaos. It is going to be chaos.
Give me some War Games right now. I'm ready.
I'm with you.
I like War Games. I like War Games, and I want a War Games match. But I wish we could get at least one traditional random like Survivor Series match where they used to just randomly pick people.
Well, here was the problem with that. Like when you had the SmackDown versus Raw, the 5-on-5, a lot of the times, because Vince is an idiot, a lot of the times you would have the WWE draft 2 weeks before Survivor Series. So now you have these guys that are on this team fighting for their brand that just got drafted over there. That 3 weeks ago they were on the other brand.
At least these are guys with some kind of storyline going on. There's a reason why they don't like each other.
Right, but I am with you. I do like I didn't mind the champion versus champion match, like when the SmackDown champion faced the Raw champion. I like that. I enjoyed that. So I'd like to see kind of one of those matches. But the problem is who do you? If everybody that you got involved in War Games, Roman's not going to go up against Seth.
Roman's not losing, and Gunther's not losing. So you got too many that. I mean, it wouldn't be. You basically already would know who's going to win. So
and then here would be the matches: Roman, Seth, because you got the heavyweight championships against each other, which I think is a good match. I don't think it needs to be done right now, though. I think that's an interesting match. It's intriguing. And then the other one, the Intercontinental and US, Gunther versus Ray. I don't want to see that.
Ray would get smushed.
Ray might die. He might die out there. So, but I am with you though, Brandon. I think they need to have some type of tradition at Survivor Series. But I think War Games is kind of that new tradition for Survivor Series. I think that'll be a staple for years to come. And I'm excited about this year's War Games. I think it's going to be absolutely awesome.
Well, speaking of pay-per-views, what do we have next, guys? Is it
the Saudi show?
Saudi show?
Yeah, I don't know when it is though.
Should be October.
November 4th, I think.
Oh, November 4th. So we've got about another month out.
Yeah, November 4th. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, they've already made a. It looks like they've already made a Seth versus Drew.
That must have got made tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, it was. Yep. I just saw a story about it.
Well, thanks for spoiling it, Brandon.
Well, I didn't know. I just happened to see when Crown Jewels popped it up. I didn't know. I hadn't seen it either.
Well, now I don't have to watch Raw. Thanks a lot.
That was what happened on Raw tonight.
If that's the highlight of Raw, we don't need to watch anyway.
It might be though, Brandon. It might be.
Oh,
Bret just said we're getting Bronson Reed in a triple threat. So I mean that sells you enough.
Listen, why are y'all hating on Bronson's good? All right,
big Bronson Reed.
Bronson can go. I like his attitude.
Well, the professor.
No. Don't say anything to Diggs. Don't say anything to Diggs. Let's leave that alone. I don't want to have to hear about it.
Oh man. Oh geez. Well,
and then after we got the Saudi show on November 4th, and then Survivor Series is the 25th. So we got,
and then we got the AEW show the week before.
Oh my gosh.
Well, we got some wrestling coming
up.
And
we got playoff football at that time.
That's on Thanksgiving, right? It's right in
we're third round deep then.
Hey, we'll get a month off here basically before we have another show here. That'll be episode 20 coming up next time, guys.
Hey,
20 episodes. Yeah.
Get some balloons and streamers for that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, to celebrate the end of the show tonight, I'm gonna play a little music for you guys.
Let's
go. Off the Ropes, episode 19. We just reviewed Fastlane. For Kyle and Brandon, I'm Bret. We'll see you next month for our next show, number 20, right here on the Disrespect Sports Network. Everybody have a good night. Appreciate you joining us. See ya.